Well, would you look at that? As soon as they started to do research into women's bodies, reproduction, and women's health, like actually taking it seriously because they haven't been before, we are now seeing that all the myths around women's reproduction, all the things that women are told about us aging out, biological clocks, all these things aren't just as they seem. Well,
Everything they told us about women, it's a lie. So they have been telling us that we have biological clock is ticking. Your biological clock is ticking. Once you're in your 25, you have to start having babies to your clock 30, because when you get to 30, it's going to be difficult. Whereas the men also have biological clock. They also have biological clock, but nobody is talking about it. Nobody told us that they have biological clock. It tells us that even a man at his 70s can pregnate a woman with no issue. That's why you see men always, I can get married, I can have any girl at any time of my age and still have children. You as a woman, you have to be fast with whatever you're doing. Everything is a lie. You guys, there's a new study that shows that men also have biological clock. Let me show you all this video, then I'll share my thoughts at the end of the video.
Would you look at that? As soon as they started to do research into women's bodies, reproduction, and women's health, like actually taking it seriously because they haven't been before, we are now seeing that all the myths around women's reproduction, all the things that women are told about us aging out, biological clocks, all these things aren't just as they seem. This new study that has just come out, I think a few months ago, says that women's egg quality stays stable with age, while men's sperm, it's men's sperm that deteriorates. The study does not say that women no longer have a biological clock. We know that, as you get older, your eggs decrease. We know that it gets harder to have children. We know that. But what it's saying is that men's sperm have a biological clock as well. And for so long, we've been told that's not the case. Men can produce, healthy children into their 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. The same rules don't apply. Actually, the sperm loses its quality a lot faster than the egg loses its quality. Interesting. Will this research have women questioning men's sperm quality the same way men will question women's reproductive health? I don't know, but now that women's health is being taken seriously and research into women's reproductive is actually being done, probably with some women in the room, I cannot wait to see the results and how this is going to shift society. Let me know what you guys think in the comments and follow me for more.
Finally decided to start studying women's bodies, and guess what they found out? That whole scary female biological clock thing, turns out it's not us, it's the men. Yes, we are born with all of our eggs, and yes, they decline over time, but new research has now shown that our eggs are actually protected from certain aging damage. Meanwhile, sperm gets worse and worse every single year. Slower swimmers, more DNA damage, and less volume. By 40, miscarriage risks go up, and by 45, IVF success rates drop, even if the woman's eggs are young. So instead of telling women to hurry up before they dry up when we are 25, why is nobody telling the men to freeze their sperm?
So it turns out that women don't have the biological clock, it's men that have the biological clock. Besides the fact that this is kind of like a dishonest take on what's actually true, I think more accurately, as both female and males age, their fertility goes down. Now, we all know men can produce sperm until they die. That's just a fact. The quality of sperm not being there, that is neither surprising to me nor worth the argument that comes with it. But for the sake of the argument, let's just concede completely. Let's not lose sight of what the premise of the argument is, and is that men treated women poorly when they had a biological clock, and they were assholes about it. Now imagine if the roles were reversed. Oh wait, they are, right? Just look at how women are acting. Look how petty they're being. Look at how they're treating men now that they know this new information. Whether it's true or not doesn't really matter. Oh, but men did it first. What are we, kids? Is that forever gonna be your guys' thing? Oh, men did it first, we get to do it now. I have news for you. You're not a good person if that's always your reason, because there's always gonna be someone that's being an asshole first. If that's all it takes for you being a bad person, you're just a bad person. Or in this case, just kind of wrong and a bad person.
You know how men have been brainwashed in believing that they do not have a biological clock, and because of that, a lot of men choose to date women that are 10, 15, 20 years younger than them because they think, well, I can just get pregnant as long as I have a younger woman. Now that we know that it's actually their sperm that declines as they age and their mitochondrial DNA declines, and our mitochondrial DNA and our eggs don't decline as we age, does that mean it's going to be flipped back? It's going to be like re-inverted, if that makes sense, where now women are going to be like, no, I want younger men. Like a 40, 50-year-old woman is going to start dating like 20 to 30-year-old men because we know that they actually get more geriatric and that their value declines as they age. Just asking for the girls.
If you're over the age of 30 as a man, it is reckless, dangerous, and selfish for you to want to father a child. After the age of 30, your sperm has degraded to the point that your likelihood of fathering a child with a cognitive or physical impairment is skyrocketing. You've been carrying a radio frequency device 6 inches from your ball sack for the last 15 years. Your sperm is rotten. You no longer have the opportunity to father a child. You have missed your biological window. And the fact that more men don't know about this or even seem to care that their child is probably going to have autism or Down syndrome if they're having children after 30 is simply irresponsible.
They told women their worth had an expiration date. But guess what? Your eggs are tougher, smarter, and more resilient than anyone gave you credit for. And if we're being honest, the real biological clock might belong to men, not women. And science backs that up. Women have been bamboozled, straight up lied to. For decades, we've been told that our fertility expires after 30, like milk. That our eggs get old, dusty, and useless, while men can have kids forever. But new research just flipped the entire story on its head. Scientists from Penn State and UCSF just discovered that women's eggs have built-in biological defenses against aging. They resist damage. They repair themselves. From ages 22 to 42, your eggs stay genetically stable. Meanwhile, the rest of your body, blood, skin, saliva, ages up to 24 times faster. So that whole your eggs are dying fear, turns out that's based on outdated science. The number might drop, yes, but their quality stays strong for much longer than we were ever told. Now here's the part nobody ever talks about. While women have been carrying the guilt and pressure, men's sperm is quietly mutating with age. A 2025 Nature study found that sperm from older men has more DNA mutations. It jumps from 2% in your 30s to 5% in your 60s. And those mutations, they can lead to higher risk of miscarriage and developmental disorders. So who really has the biological clock ticking louder? This isn't about blaming men, it's about righting a wrong. For decades, women have been shamed, rushed, and told our worth expires with age. We've been made to feel broken when the science says we're resilient. Our bodies were never the problem, the narrative was. It's time we stop putting pressure on women's clocks and start talking about everyone's biology honestly, because the truth is, women's eggs were built to endure, and the science backs us up.
Now, I told y'all the patriarchy is backwards day every day. It's been so interesting to see the news recently about men's fertility and women's fertility and how basically everything we've been told about women's fertility as we age has been a freaking lie. But not only a freaking lie, no. But we've also found out that that lie directly mimics what actually happens to men. It's almost like they, what do you call it? Projected onto us. Yeah. This obsession with young women and young women's fertility has really been nothing but projection and gaslighting. Literally the number 2 and 3 most popular tools of the patriarchy. So men have been projecting their own reality and insecurities about said reality onto women. And simultaneously, they've been gaslighting us to believe that our women's fertility traits are actually theirs. What a number the patriarchy has done on all of us. Yikes. It's their sperm quality that goes down as they age precipitously, not our eggs. Turns out menopause is actually a response to environmental triggers and stressors. And that would make sense that as a woman's male partner ages, the ovaries can tell that the quality of their sperm is clicking. And it's clicking down. So of course it would shut up shop. Wow. Whole time, these motherfuckers are calling women who are having children in their 30s geriatric. And it's them. They're the geriatrics. Just like they project onto us their fear of dying alone. Women don't die alone. Men do. Because they burn so many goddamn bridges throughout their lifetime. Single women have friends. They have families. They belong to organizations. They have community. It's single men who are dying alone. And they project that fear onto women so that women are scared into being in relationships with them so that what? They don't die alone. Men have literally stolen our identity and projected their identity onto us. Never forget, the patriarchy is backwards day every day. The patriarchy is upside down day every day.
You had a miscarriage and you probably felt really bad about yourself. You had a child with special needs and probably felt like it was all your fault. You're having infertility issues and feeling like you're the problem. I have worked in OB-GYN for the past 6 years, and I knew from the start it was never your fault as a woman. It was never the woman's fault. And we now have research and data that backs this up and proves that, baby, you were never the problem. It was never your fault. Nothing was wrong with your body. Nothing was wrong with your eggs. It was the man's fault. It was the man's fault because he hit the wall. You try to have a child with a man that hit the wall. And this is because you don't have a biological clock. The man is actually the one that has the biological clock. Men have a biological clock. As they age, their sperm quality can decline due to increased DNA fragmentation. This damage can lead to a higher risk of infertility, miscarriage, and certain genetic abnormalities in offspring. Factors like age, lifestyle, and environmental toxins contribute to his DNA damage. After the age of 40, the risk of sperm DNA fragmentation increases. Smoking, alcohol, obesity, and chronic stress can accelerate sperm DNA damage. Exposure to toxins can contribute to the problem. Varicocele, infections, and inflammation can also cause DNA fragmentation. This is also why men on average do not live as long as women. And to be honest, they shouldn't even be living half as long as they are able to live. The reason why the gap is kind of closing in on the mortality rate between men and women is because it was artificially created, which is why we have a surplus man problem. They unalived and eradicated so many women throughout history so that way they can make it so that there are more males than we need necessary, because it only takes one man to impregnate a ton of women. And historically, in Neolithic times, goddesses would find the man with the best genes and they would procreate with that man, and then they would revive him after he did what his job was, because that is the main purpose of the male being here. That is the only reason why they exist in the first place. So when women are complaining about how lustful men are, they're being lustful because it's their desire, and that's another projection. This whole your biological urges, your hormonal urges to want to get pregnant is actually a projection. They're the ones that have the hormonal urges to constantly want to procreate, because that is what they are here for. For a lot of women, the societal pressure is what creates this phantom feeling of hormonally you feeling like you're being influenced to have children, when in reality you have the looming thought in your head that I am approaching a certain age, and as I approach this age, I need to have children. That's not hormonal. That's not your biological wiring or your biological clock. That's just you having a scarcity mindset over some shit that patriarchy told you to believe, when in reality, it never existed. Evolution always comes full circle. And this is the reason why, as men are getting younger and younger, their desire to want children is increasing more and more and more. And studies are showing this, that the number one thing that Gen Z men are looking to do is to be a father. They're looking to have children, because it's only so long that you can fake and that you can artificially create these scenarios in order to give men an advantage. At some point, evolution is going to catch up to themselves. What patriarchy has done is not even made men realize they're a part of the evolution too. And a part of that evolution is for a lot of them to be eradicated, for, natural selection to eradicate a lot of them. A lot of their bloodlines are going to be eradicated, because at some point you cannot artificially create this and think that it's going to stay the same forever. We saw how that worked out for China. Between 1986 and 2015, they had the one child rule, where they would unallow the women or the female fetuses in order to have a surplus of men. And now they're literally offering to pay women to come to the country to procreate with these men. The men are very violent. The men are very dangerous, because that's what happens when you artificially create things so that way you can implement patriarchy. You were never the problem. Your uterus was never the problem. For my 6 years in OB-GYN, I've seen women in their 40s and their 50s have natural pregnancies, natural births, and it not be an issue. The babies come out perfectly healthy and perfectly fine. So if you are a woman who wants to get pregnant, a man needs to be doing the necessary things. I've always told my patients, the man has to prepare for the pregnancy too. You have to take into account his genes. You have to take into account his familial history. And you have to take into account his age and what he is doing with his lifestyle. What are his lifestyle behaviors?
Yes.
You're a woman. You bleed once a month. You have a self-cleaning oven. You literally have a self-cleaning oven that does everything in its power to protect itself, because it has the ability to do so. Your uterus is going to remove all of the things that it doesn't want inside of it, including a man's DNA that doesn't belong inside of you, because it's evolution, it's biology, it's natural selection. Your uterus is a natural selector.
Everything is just projection. Everything is just projection. And the thing is that we've believed all these things all these years. We've assumed that this is the right thing. We're not saying that women doesn't have biological clock. Of course, when you get older, the older you get, a lot of things in your body system stop functioning or reduce the function. Collagen, everything is normal, right? As you age, right? But then them only making it feel like it's just women that have the problem. That is where the problem is. I don't think I've ever heard something like this, that men have biological clock. All my years is women. And you see, and they are always saying it, especially the men. They always promote it. Oh, how old are you? I'm 29. Oh, I'm 28. Oh, I want girls in the early 20s so that she'll be able to. She's still fertile, because now that you're going to the 30s, I don't want to take chances. They make you feel like you that you're getting to your 30s, you have a problem. That's why you see women rushing into marriage, rushing into having so many children before they clock 30, because they're like, hey, my biological clock will let my husband not go and have children outside or something. Like, they're always afraid of that 30 age, or I don't want to get to a certain age whereby I'll not be able to reproduce. And when it comes to miscarriage as well, there was a time that this study was actually going viral, which says that men are the one that contributes most to miscarriages. But when miscarriages happen, women are always the one people point fingers at, like, you are the problem. What were you eating? Why didn't you rest? Why didn't you do this? But biologically, these men have been contributing to miscarriages. Most of the time, you will see a woman, she must be having sex with a particular man and having miscarriages over and over again. Let her change to another person and the pregnancy will stay. Most of the time, they always make it look like it is women only problem. You want to get pregnant, it is women only problem. Oh, you want to get pregnant. Oh, once you're pregnant, the woman is pregnant. They forget that it is man and woman that did the thing to get pregnant. Like, you guys, so men have biological clock. So men have biological clock. So they get to a stage whereby their stuff is going to be doing up and down. And they make it look like once they're in their 70s, the thing is still strong. Even though they of course they cannot do it very well, but they tell you that whatever that comes out after that can still. I'm so happy that they are doing this research. In fact, they should bring out more researches. You guys, what's your take on this? How do you feel about it? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Respectfully, as always, check out my David, and thank you so much for tuning in today's video. I hope you enjoyed this one. Please like and share and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one, guys.